And as I pulled up my pants, I said I was never coming back to this establishment ever again.
As well, you should not. That's just unreasonable.
Right? I mean, treat your customers with respect. Hey, everybody.
The sign outside clearly said, no shirt, no shoes, no service. They meant nothing about pants.
Nothing. You have to be specific in this day and age.
Yeah.
No,
what happened to the customer's always right?
In the words of Shannon Hamilton, the customer's always an asshole. No, you fall before me. Not even dinner or drink first. We just go right into it. Get it out of the way. You know, I think that's what you should do on a first date. Is just like immediately go to that, and then that'll set the tone for the rest of the night. It's like, you know what? I'm not really feeling it anymore. I don't want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings with you. We'll just part ways right here. But
I'm interested to hear how you even got the first date suggesting Buffalo Wild Wings, but that's just me.
Yeah, I can't stand Buffalo Wild Wings. Hey, coffee.
Games with Coffee says, well, then I don't need these unzipped pants.
I always wear breakaway pants. I never wear a zipper anymore. Always breakaway.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, Gamers Week and Chill means something different to everyone. So you do you.
That it does.
Donnie was a Boy Scout. He was always prepared.
I was a Boy Scout up until like, I think I did Cub Scouts. And then I checked out after that. I was just like, this isn't for me. I'm not that outdoorsy. No thanks.
There's like bugs and shit out here. Like, not really my scene.
You didn't like the little bandanas and the little shorts and everything?
And holding up 2 fingers and all that stuff. My son, my oldest, started to do Cub Scouts. And we did it for like a year, the first year. And then I was just like, oh my God, like I don't like going camping. I don't like doing this. I don't like doing that. And we just like, we're gonna go do hockey now. And hockey really took off. So.
Something indoors.
Exactly. Hey,
Webhead
GoldenEye
says, I always assume you 3 aren't wearing pants during the stream.
I mean, I can see Ryan. I can see Ryan's shorts. So
he's not wearing pants. Yeah, he's wearing shorts.
I don't know if you can't really see my shorts, right?
I too am wearing shorts. Ooh. Blue.
I'm not showing. No, I'm not showing.
No fun.
On that note, why don't we go ahead and get started? So welcome to Gamers Week Podcast. Like the name says, we analyze the best, the worst, and the weirdest headlines of the past week of the video game industry. This is episode 160, and today is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025. My name is Ryan, aka retrogamebrews, and I have with me 2 spectacular co-hosts, which I will happily introduce to you now. First of which is a gentleman who lives by the motto and credo that a 22 still shoots hard. Donnie G. Donnie, how you doing today?
Hey, even the smaller weapons pack a punch, okay? So it doesn't matter if you're rolling with a 22 or a 20 gauge. 22 is going to pack a punch. And that's all you need.
When you pull out the 22 versus the 20 gauge, I mean, one gets more respect than the other.
Absolutely.
But,
one is like, oh, that's so cute. And the other one's like,
yeah.
Whoa, like I'm going to die.
And the next co-host is currently working on putting in a DBA for her new company known as Drop Dead Daisies, sex dolls for that kind of guy. Blue Williams. Blue, how you doing today?
Like I said, it's an underserved demographic with money to spend.
And it's not like a whole lot of modification. It's perfect, right?
Yeah, it's a natural pairing. And we don't kink shame. And Falrang says, watching live for the first time, this is what you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, we apologize already.
Yep.
No apologies.
All right. We don't kink shame and we don't apologize. Nope. I like this.
That should be a new shirt, a new t-shirt. Gamers Week Podcast, no kink shaming, no apologies.
All right, so why don't we jump in then to our reviews, reactions, and requests. First up from Mogok, my kids are going to be absolutely excited about the Switch 2. I look forward to all the chores to earn money for it because nothing from the Direct appealed to me. That's a pro move right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Understandably, a lot of parents are dreading when this comes out, but look at the bright side. You're not going to have to mow the lawn for like 3 years.
Because well,
And
then,
anytime they upset you, you can like come up with some like trumped up charges, right? Like, you didn't do X, Y, or Z, no more Switch. And by the way, if you cut the lawn, I'm happy to give you access back. Man, being a parent's awesome.
I know, like this is hard.
yeah, I haven't cut my grass in years because I've got child labor doing it. So
There you go. And Felrank says, been listening since episode 50 or so. Okay, good. Glad that you
Nice,
have been
Felrank.
initiated. And yes, so glad that you have joined us for a live episode.
Yeah, I was like, you picked a hell of a night to start. So,
well, thank you for sticking around for that long. Hopefully you have enjoyed the podcast. I mean, obviously you have since you've been listening to it since episode 50 something. But yeah, now that we do this live, come and join us every single Wednesday.
Absolutely.
Webhead says, my kink is people who don't apologize.
Hey.
Frankie.
You're in the right place.
Stop. All right, next up is Gen Defense Force. Man, I fucking love Billy Mitchell. He's very much the Hulk Hogan of video games. A terrible person, but also an over-the-top cartoonish heel. Playing to his strength as an asshole, blurring the line between reality and theatrics. I do have to say, it was difficult for me to say that first line. Just
yeah.
throwing that out.
I think that was a sarcastic first line.
I think it's a little of both, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if he was playing a character, Billy Mitchell would be like the perfect heel in WWF. I agree.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
He's the guy you love to hate, but he has legions of fans still for reasons that escape me. But it is interesting to think perhaps he's just that smart that he's realized that people love to hate him, and so he's just going to make money from it.
I mean, it's that whole process of, there is no such thing as bad PR, right?
Correct.
So for him, I'm sure. And you know what? He still does Twitch streams. He still does a whole bunch of stuff. So again, he's making money one way or another.
And he's got a weird fucking smile too. That yeah, that like that. There we go. Screenshot that. Somebody screenshot that.
I'll use that as my new profile pic and on Blue Sky. I think I'll just rake in the followers.
Yep.
And last up, Top Loader says, Billy Mitchell, still doing Billy Mitchell things. He never disappoints being Billy Mitchell, and only he can do what Billy Mitchell does.
I think
Well
that has
said.
become an adjective and a verb now.
Billy Mitchelling.
Did you just Billy Mitchell me? I'm pretty sure there are. I mean, you look at the Mogok Gem Defense Force who equated Billy Mitchell to Hulk Hogan. There are assholes out there. They just come in different forms. So he's not unique. He's just the only person, I guess, in the video game landscape that's doing this type of stuff.
Or
So
probably the most
far.
well known, I think.
Right.
It's probably the most well known. Because I mean you had like Todd Rogers and stuff. It was
His
you know what's
cadre of
funny?
people.
Okay. It's funny because I was watching thing on like Frank Dukes and Steven Seagal recently. And it
Mhm.
seems like everybody who made up stuff about their exploits in the 80s eventually got caught when the internet existed.
Oh, of course.
And you can like look stuff up, right? So it was like Frank Dukes was like, "Oh, I was in the Kumite." Like, no, you weren't. Like Steven Seagal was like, "Oh, it was in the CIA." No, you weren't. And now it's like Billy Mitchell, Todd Rogers, those guys. It seems like there was this 80s thing where I had to make up my fame in order to be famous. Not saying that everybody did that though. It's allegedly.
Allegedly.
There we go.
Allegedly.
Covered my ass there. All right, so why don't we go ahead and shout out our patrons?
We couldn't do what we do without the help of our gorgeous patrons. Here are the generous folks supporting Gamers Week on Patreon. Stephen Sand, Ramboski, Terry Kinnair, A. 3030, Don't Make Me, Pull This Car Over, Games with Coffee, Hybrid Divide, You Fall Before Me, Davey PGH, the Pixel Pawn family, including Shannon and Luke, Zach Huge Thanks, Puzzle Butter, Number One Blue, Sick Voice Fan, John Barron, Sassy Sony, Evo Lust, Rai Wants This Boy's Soul, Mega Retro Man, Gamma Troy, Moradib, Michael, Can You Fly, Bobby? Right? Emo-esque, Bill Tucker, The Real Retro Game Brews, Fruitcakes Pickled Pepper, Ducks with Thick Thighs, absolutely the best podcast, a work in progress, Wizard of Zardoz, Bobs and Dugnut, Blues Little Sis, Loudmouth, Retro Blast Pat, B&T Zilla Guy, The Mad Milkman, Seven Castle Forest, Crunchy Kong, Sheriff Snacks, Frank Grande, and Love Retro BTW. If you like what you heard today, and we really hope you do, please consider joining us on Patreon. Your support helps cover the cost of producing the show, as well as other cool stuff we'll be doing, like prizes and giveaways. You'll also gain access to our bi-weekly patron-only bonus cast called Gamers Week Uncut, Patrons with Benefits. Visit patreon.com/gamersweek or follow the link in the show notes to learn more.
Can you fly, Bobby?
All right, so why don't we go ahead and jump into our headlines?
Our headline segment is proudly sponsored by the Retro Game Club podcast. It's a fantastic, family-friendly retro gaming podcast. In each episode, Rob picks 2 games to play and discuss, as well as news, interviews, and other topics. Right now, they're playing through RoboCop in Ninja Gaiden 2. Visit them at retrogameclub.net or follow the link in the show notes.
I figured it was a perfect week for Donnie to read this one.
And I saw it out of the as I was reading the copy, I saw the last sentence and I saw Ninja Gaiden. And I was like, my soul just like erupted, like because I get to say it and I'm going to annoy the shit out of Ryan.
He's over here making the AVGN face, basically.
Yep. Raiden?
It's Gaiden.
Raiden, Ninja Gaiden. They don't pronounce it Raiden, the Lord of Thunder.
Maybe they do. I mean,
I've heard it pronounced Raiden.
Not in Mortal Kombat. I've never heard anybody say that about Mortal Kombat, but I have heard that about the shooter. So like Raiden Trad and the arcade shooter, I've heard that called Raiden. So.
Oh, I've heard it Raiden Trad.
I've as well, right? But
I don't ask for much, right? I don't. Let me have this.
Okay, I will let you have this if you stop calling Final Fantasy IV Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy VI Final Fantasy III.
Fuck.
Pick one. Pick a lane.
No, I don't think I will. I can't do that. I cannot concede on that.
Then I cannot concede that you're wrong about Ninja Gaiden.
And I appreciate your stance. I do. I really do.
Look at these 2 giants of pedanticism. Just butting heads. It's a sight to see.
Games of Coffee says, "Oh, rye bread, you sweet summer child." So, RoboCop, yeah, that's a game.
That's a tough game. That's a really tough game, especially in the arcade.
And Ninja Gaiden 2 is also an extremely tough game as well. And isn't that the one where they introduced the like weather, right?
The wind?
Like the wind, yeah.
That's
stupid.
I don't know if that was 2 or 3, but yeah, the wind sucks in that game. It's just horrible.
So we salute you this week for playing 2 really tough games. And I'm sure they're pronouncing it right. I'm just throwing it out there.
Oh, so will you fall before me?
Should
Says
we?
Donnie pulled an old Captain America? What do you mean?
See, and Puzzle Better says, "Oh, I totally say it like Donnie, but I think Ryan might be right. I've been wrong my whole life."
Now, I understand. We've had this discussion before. I'm pretty sure it's Ninja Gaiden, but we had all 3 of us had a conversation on Monday night about you don't say Lord Raiden, you say Lord Raiden. That's how they pronounce it in Mortal Kombat. So if you're going to say Raiden, then why isn't Ninja Gaiden?
What if Mortal Kombat was wrong?
Mortal Kombat, to be fair, was not made
fair.
To
by
be
a
fair.
was
That
not made
that was my
by,
point.
not
What
made
if
by a Japanese
Yeah.
company, right?
Yeah, that was my point.
It was by the guys who go toasties.
Yeah, I'm not necessarily sure that should be the standard by which we judge the pronunciation is whatever the American company said in the 90s.
Impossible Butter says blue, bringing in the big guns.
The 20 gauge, if you will.
not the pew.
All right, so first headline for this week is Nintendo's big Switch 2 reveal hasn't been without its controversy. With fans everywhere begging for the company to drop the price of its new console and games following last week's Nintendo Switch 2 news. Nice. Nintendo execs have now acknowledged that the cost of the upcoming Switch 2 games and explained the reason behind the higher price in the United States, as Switch 2 on its own will cost $450 and its games won't come cheap either. Mario Kart World will cost $80 in the US, while the 3D Donkey Kong game Donkey Kong Bonanza, which should have been Bonanza, is set
Bonanza.
is
You're
set
right.
to
That's way better.
way better. Is set to cost $70. Speaking to IGN, Bill Tryon, Nintendo of America's Vice President of Product and Player Experience, mentions Mario Kart World specifically, saying, honestly, this game is so big and so vast that they're going to find that it's probably the richest Mario Kart experience they've ever had. Meanwhile, the Nintendo of America president, Doug Bowser, told The Verge that Trump's April 2nd tariff announcements were not factored into the price itself of the Switch 2. 2 days after Nintendo revealed the Switch 2's price, the company delayed pre orders in the US in an effort to assess the potential impact of tariffs and evolving market conditions. Many are speculating that Nintendo is going to raise the price of the Switch 2 due to tariffs, though this remains to be seen. The system is set for release on June 5th, and Bowser went on to say that the Switch 2's bigger screen, better specs, new features like game chat, and more contributed to the consideration of the price.
I'm sorry, but game chat? You're saying game chat is a factor in the price? Come on, give me a break.
That was a fine quality product. You saw so yourself
I did
during the direct.
Yeah.
I mean, what we're using right now is completely free, and
Of course.
we're doing the same thing, right?
Yeah.
We have game chat already.
Yeah, I think after their game chat demo, that Discord should be like rubbing his hands together,
Oh,
like
yeah.
that guy, the meme of the guy from behind the tree, like, you know.
Yeah.
But I think it also should be said that earlier today it was announced that the tariffs have been delayed 90 days, and which is after the Switch 2 comes out. So I was hoping that Nintendo would comment on that before we recorded. Of course, they did not. They'll probably do it tomorrow because that's our luck.
Of course.
But as of now, it does seem like they'll either have to delay the launch or they'll have to settle on a price without knowing exactly what the impact of the tariffs will be.
And
It could go either way.
yeah. And I'm sorry, people are begging Nintendo to drop the price.
Not begging, they've been demanding.
I can understand that the collective internet are going to beg or throw a fit about the look of a character, the sound of a character, and get that changed. But in this little arena, I don't think your screams and your cries are going to reach who you think they will. They don't care. And from what I understand, was it Nintendo's president or somebody said if you can't afford the Switch 2, guess what we have? We have the Switch 1 available for you to purchase.
Yeah, that
So-
was Doug Bowser.
Yeah, that's a Bowser thing to say in all fairness.
Well, it is, and they are now people are drawing comparisons between the disastrous launch of the Xbox One and the way the launch of this Nintendo Switch 2 seems to be going, because Xbox did that same kind of boneheaded move. You're trying to convince people that your product is special and worth the price, and they want to buy it. And with the Xbox One, it was the whole always online thing.
Right.
And I forget who it was at Microsoft who said this, but they're like, if you can't be online all the time, we have another Xbox product for you, and that's the 360. And Doug Bowser, having learned nothing from that debacle, pretty much came out and said the same thing. If you can't afford the Switch 2, we have a Switch for you. It's called the Switch 1. I don't know where these guys go to PR school, but it seems like they didn't get a good grade.
Tekin85 says, let them eat Switch cartridges. Doug Bowser next week while being dragged to the guillotine.
Who wants to eat the Switch cartridges when they still taste bad?
It was like,
Yeah.
So I will say this. The 450 price point, it sounds about right for what you're getting. I got to be honest with you. You're going to be more beefed up system. You're going to have an opportunity to utilize the Switch in a way that you couldn't up until this point. It's going to have more storage. It's going to be able to output in 4K. It's going to have 120 frames per second. There are a lot of specs in which they've thrown into this small machine. Hate me all you want for saying that, because there are plenty of people who are just upset, and I think it's because of the precedent that Nintendo has set over the years, right? Since the Wii came out, realistically, is that it was the ultra cheap system, the every man, every woman system, and therefore Nintendo has been forced in a way in their own accord, because they've done that, to be the cheap system for most folks. And now they're saying, let's beef this up. Let's actually make this playable with modern IPs. And you're going to end up paying a little bit more. As far as the cost of the games is concerned, I would say that that's a discussion that we've had many times, where we said it was coming. It's coming, right?
Mm-hmm.
That we've enjoyed this price point of basically $60 for the last 25 years or more. So it's kind of the inevitability of that. They've been testing the waters as far as the video game industry with games on the Xbox and the PlayStation for a while now, and people have bought them. Even begrudgingly, they've still bought them, and they've sold well at higher price points. So I don't think that they're really. It's what I would say is it's not like it's. I'm surprised. Am I disappointed of having to pay for more for games? Absolutely. Does that limit your budget on how many you can purchase? Absolutely. But nonetheless, they're. I don't want to say that they're a business and they got to make money, but they're losing money over time if they continue at the same price point. If games get more expensive, if technology gets more expensive, throw tariffs on top of that, it's a lose-lose situation. And we still want games to play, honestly.
Yeah, we don't want Nintendo to go away, or to stop making games, or Lord forbid to start to think that the American market is not worth it for them to try to cater to.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all of that would drastically change the landscape of this hobby that we like so much, that we have a podcast about it. So,
Right.
I mean, I will say, if they decide to go higher than this, because if they're saying that the tariffs did not factor into this price and they're going to add that on top of that, if they go higher than this, I think that's going to be a disaster.
Oh, of course. And especially if we're talking about the percentages that they're discussing as far as what the tariffs. I mean, I think it was discussed to over 100%, like 104%. I'm not paying $900 for a Switch. I'm
No,
sorry.
no, thank you.
No, nobody.
Especially when half of that money is going to the government. Yeah, because you're going to pay sales tax on top of that. So sales tax and tariff tax.
No,
fucking way.
nobody would pay that.
If it's $450, I for one, I don't think that's a bad price, because of the fact, like we talked about before, this is a beefier console. It's now up there with the PS4 Pro, the Xbox One X, or the Xbox X, or what have you. So it's right there in contention with this beefier consoles that you can play AAA games on now. Not to mention the fact that you can play these games on a handheld anywhere you want. The other two major manufacturers, one has really tried, and it's not been successful. You can play it on a handheld just in your own house. If you want to take this game and go play it on the crapper, or go play it in bed, or go play it outside in your backyard, great. But anywhere else, sorry, you're SOL. You're able to do this with the Switch 2. You're able to go anywhere and play this AAA game. Anywhere you have an internet connection, you just hop online. Bam, you can play Diablo 4. Bam, you can play Elden Ring with your friends and stuff like that in a public setting. And I kind of think that that's worth the price point too.
Yeah.
Puzzle Better brought up an interesting point here. She said they might be using it as a gimmick to tell people to stop complaining and then just keep it the same price.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
That's playing 4D chess.
See, and Falrank says, as a Canadian, $450 is about 635 Canadian dollars plus 13% provincial sales tax, so around $718. And that's before you've even bought a game or, say, your Pro controller to the tune of $80,
Way too
or
much.
whatever that is in Canada money. But yeah, it adds up fast as it is. And while we can sit here and say we think that the tech is worth it and the games are going to be worth it, it does not change the fact that the overall total is crazy. And it means that a lot of games are not going to get people to try them out like they probably would otherwise.
Okay.
Because at $80, $90 per game, I'm not buying Tamagotchi Life. I'm not even buying Donkey Kong Bonanza. I am only buying for $80 those titles that I know are going to be absolute home runs. Everything else, if I'm not absolutely convinced it's going to be a home run for me, I'm not going to try it because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Well, thankfully you're a part of a podcast that looks up video game releases for the week. So
Right, and review scores ahead of time. So research is part of the deal of what we do here. But yeah, Nintendo, if you're looking for an executive who actually knows how to present things in a way that doesn't piss off everyone, give us a call. We can help you out with that.
For a nominal fee.
Just a tiny, tiny little fee.
just imagining Blue getting on there, like doing a press conference, and they're going, no, shut up. All right, you.
This one's an idiot.
Right.
See, and One Up John says, I miss Reggie. I think we all,
Yeah.
in these days, we kind of miss Reggie. But I think Reggie is sitting over there in his retirement going, woo.
Right. All right, next up, move over, Mario. It's Steve's time to shine at the box office. A Minecraft movie shattered expectations at the box office this weekend, grossing a record 157 million domestically, according to the estimates of ComScore. That represents the biggest 3-day opening ever for a movie based on a video game at the domestic box office. The record was previously held by Jack Black film, the Super Mario Bros. Movie, which in 2023 grossed 146 million domestically over 3 days. A Minecraft movie will also a much needed win for the box office in general, which has been gotten off to a slow start in 2025 with a dearth of blockbusters and several financial disappointment like Disney's live action remake of Snow White. Videos of Minecraft moviegoers getting rowdy inside theaters have gone viral on social media, sparking a trend that encourages viewers to clap, shout, throw popcorn, and more during pivotal moments of the movie, including Jack Black proclaiming, I am Steve, and yelling, chicken jockey. This has prompted several theater chains to issue warnings that any disruptive behavior will result in patrons being removed from the theater. Imagine having to go to court because you got arrested at the Minecraft movie. Oh boy.
Yeah. I think that after Borderlands had its disastrous run, we lost a bit of faith in studios being able to make good movie adaptations. And then the first trailer came out for Minecraft movie and everyone made fun of it because it looked like shit. And then I think what has saved the movie and what ended up happening, and I haven't seen it, it may be fantastic, though that's not what I've heard. I've heard it's okay.
Yeah.
But what saved this movie is kids.
Yeah.
Kids weren't there to save Borderlands. Kids don't care about Borderlands, but kids friggin' love Minecraft. And so it's probably one of those where it just has to be entertaining for the kids and good enough that the parents don't kill themselves halfway through the film. And then you're going to make a gazillion dollars. And it appears to be that's what's happening here.
Mm-hmm. I have to say, from what I've been told, it's a legitimately fun atmosphere. I was reading a review from somebody who basically said the movie was like a 2 out of 10, but the theater experience was an absolute 10 out of 10. It's like the best thing he ever went through. Like people were hooting and hollering and cheering. Um, he said that there were points in the movie he didn't know what was going on because there was just so much noise that people were making, and he thought it was the greatest thing ever.
See, I guess it depends on what you're looking for, because that would make me crazy. I would probably leave.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, but you're an adult. This movie ain't for you anyway.
I know that this is true. Rocky Horror Minecraft show. Yes,
Right,
GoldenEye.
right.
That's
Yeah.
the vibe.
Now, I could have, like, in my younger years, I could have gone to a movie theater and been rowdy and whatnot, and just like gotten involved in the movie itself. And it's kind of like, yeah, go get him, do it, yeah, Batman. Now, when I go to the movies, shut the fuck up. Like, if people are talking during the previews, my blood is, I'm just like, you know what? I kind of let that go. It's like, you know what? Talk amongst yourselves. It's fine. But when the movie
It's
starts,
the previews.
I don't want to hear a freaking word. Shut your mouth.
Oh yeah.
That's it. So I typically anymore I don't go to the movie theater.
I one time we saw a movie and I don't even remember what it was, but there was the guy behind me. He wasn't even talking, but he was, I guess he had a cold or something, but he was clearing his throat about once a minute through the entire movie.
Oh,
and
God.
I was going to murder him. I did
Stab
not, which I think is a
somebody!
huge personal win. But I turned around and like gave him the death glare at least 8 times, and he didn't even it didn't even register.
I'll give you something to choke on.
Right, exactly. If you want to choke, just let me know, because I can help you out, and then we can watch the movie quietly.
I will say though, one of the best experiences I ever had in the theater. For some reason or another, I went with my brother to see the Dukes of Hazzard movie, which was a Broken Lizard production, right? And
Is it really?
yeah,
Really?
The one with
it,
Jessica Simpson?
yep. If you notice that there's a bunch of the Broken Lizard guys in the movie, and there's one point where they're at a college and the guys peel off, and Jay, his character is like a campus police officer, and he steps outside of his golf cart, and it's just him and his sunglasses. And I just said, because I was anticipating it, and it was like involuntary, I go, mother of God. Right? And then he says it, and then like people erupted. I had a guy come up to me and give me like a high five from my row, like,
Really?
you called it, man, you called it. Like, I was like, yeah, all right.
That's worthy of a high five?
Well,
It was, you had to be there. It was in the
Yeah.
moment, you know.
Isn't
I
that the one with
guess.
Sean William Scott? Isn't he in
It is
Dukes
the
of
one with
Hazzard?
Sean
Okay.
and Johnny Knoxville, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
God.
and Jessica Simpson, yeah.
Yeah.
This is why I barely remember it, honestly.
Oh, the movie sucked, but that experience was fantastic, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the closest I think I could say was sometimes when they re-show the Studio Ghibli movies in theaters and going to a late showing of that, and it's all people our age just laughing and enjoying themselves, not like screaming and yelling and saying the lines, but just laughing, like genuinely laughing out loud at all the right parts. And that is pretty fun, but that's different. It's like the whole thing with the Wicked musical and going to showings and them having to
Mhm.
do separate showings for people who insist on singing along.
Oh,
Yeah, if you know what you're getting out of that experience, if it's advertised beforehand, like a
Mhm.
fully interactive experience to go watch Tim Burton's Batman and stuff, and you can yell out the different movie quotes and or Who Framed Roger Rabbit and stuff. Please, Eddie. Like, oh yeah, that's great. Hey, talk. Everybody erupts, and you're like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. As long as you advertise it beforehand, I know what I'm walking into perfectly fine. But if I expect it to be quiet, if I expect to be engaged in the movie and listening to the dialogue and letting the actors say it, then
Yeah.
I want that to happen. And I don't want this guy who thinks he's a thespian to sit here and kind of quote the movie because he's seen it before or whatever.
Yeah.
and Puzzle Better brings up a good point too. I got an autistic teen who could not take noise though, so I got to find a way to take one and not the other.
Yeah.
That does suck. So I think to both of your points there, if they're doing that, then finding some way to label it as like this is a friendly outburst kind of showing of it versus
Yeah.
an
This is the interactive
STFU.
showing. And then this is the old man shakes fist at cloud showing. So
This is the Werther's original showing.
I mean, you're not going to go viral on TikTok though unless you make a disruption. And
That's
really
true.
that's what it's all about.
One thing I will say is please don't throw popcorn. There's people who have to clean up after every show. And you throwing popcorn just makes their job even more difficult. And it's more than likely somebody who is not making a whole lot of money per hour and probably has a douchebag boss who is on a power trip. That's all I'm going to say. So please be kind.
GoldenEye says the Centrum Silver showing.
Right.
There we go. All right, next up, Nike's exploration of the world of low poly video
Nope.
games.
Nope.
No?
Skipped one.
Oh, did I really? Okay, my bad. Microsoft has created a playable interactive space inspired by Quake II using AI, and it sparked a
Vociferous.
vociferous debate
Vociferous.
online. The
This
demo
is
is
a vocabulary episode.
Right, apparently. The demo is powered by Microsoft's recently announced Muse and the world and human action model Wham! Make me a AI system and can dramatically or dynamically create gameplay visuals that simulate player behavior in real time, which means a semi-playable environment has been generated through AI and without an in-game engine. The bite-sized demos pulls you into an interactive space inspired by Quake II, where AI crafts immersive visuals and responds actions on the fly, said Microsoft. After the Game Awards boss Jeff Keighley, or Game Awards boss, do we really call him that?
That's what the article said.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Drink heavily. Shared a brief video of the demo and an action on Twitter. Hundreds of people responded with few having anything positive to say. Microsoft will literally do anything but develop real video games, said one commenter. I had a better experience literally just imagining the game in my head, said another. Generative AI has drawn criticism from players and creators due to a mix of ethical issues, rights issues, and AI struggles to produce content audiences actually enjoy. Still, this hasn't put off a number of video game companies from using generative AI in the development of their products. Activision recently disclosed the use of generative AI for some of Call of Duty Black Ops 6 assets as part of new requirements on Steam, and amid a backlash to an AI slop zombie Santa loading screen. So, we're not typically very friendly to AI on this show.
Typically. Or ever.
Almost never.
Yeah, there's like maybe like a one-off where we said like if AI can do a learning capability to your gameplay and kind of and change the game every time you play it. That's perfect. I think we're all on the same page.
That's true.
with that.
Yeah, the Lord of the Rings
generative
one.
AI
Yeah.
is yeah what we mean when we say we don't like AI. I should tell a short story. So if you listened to the full episode last week, you noticed that the stinger was Ryan's jingle, Monsanto. And I found an AI that supposedly could take a song, take out the lyrics, and then redo the lyrics. And so I tried for probably like an hour and a half to get this AI to redo that song by the Police, but with the Monsanto lyrics. And every time it just sounded like a nightmare. It's straight up like an acid trip. Like if you were having a conversation with a demon and you were on acid, this is what it would sound like. It did not sound like singing or harmony or music
Ooh.
or anything. It was just so awful. I was like, I can't do this. So then I ended up putting together what was on the episode. But I'm sure that the AI that's available to the average person on the internet pales in comparison to what Microsoft has created for itself, but still they're so in love with this technology that has never proven itself for anything other than bad press.
I do have a favor.
Okay.
Please make that the stinger this week. Is the demon voices.
Erase them. maybe it's still on there. Maybe I can go get it.
I'd actually like to experience that.
Exactly. You piqued my curiosity.
Yeah.
Okay, I warned you. I'll see if I can find it.
Have a conversation with a demon? Sure. I'm a fucking demon. Anybody?
Yeah, you fall before me says nightmare fuel incoming.
So I will say the concept is cool in having a world that is generated based off of your choices and your decisions, and you know you could conceivably and make that if it was like VR, right? And you were going to certain places, like that could be cool. I get the whole concept of it, but um, this showcase obviously was not convincing that was what you were getting. What I'm
Mhm.
talking about is something that technologically wise we probably can't do right now, at least on a mass scale. Um,
Mhm.
and so I get it. I get why they want to do that because that does sound cool, and I can imagine it being fun. But right now, trying to force that to work is putting people out of a job for one. So it's,
Mhm.
of course, why we hate generative AI. But two, I think it still continues to put a bad taste in all of our mouth when it comes to AI. And if that's really what they want to do is switch over to a mostly AI model, they're kind of putting the cart in front of the horse here by having people experience it from a negative aspect or a negative light.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong because they keep putting these demos up and like, look, isn't this cool? And apparently not remembering from the last time they did that when everybody thought it was a horrible idea. And you even have people like Ashley Birch who reacted to that leaked AI Aloy footage that came from Sony and came
Right.
out and said, "This is what we're fighting against. They're just going to take our talent and use it for themselves, and we're going to lose out." And it's like they are completely oblivious to that side, like willfully oblivious, and just go on and be like, "Look, you can play Quake. AI made it, but if you actually watched it, it looked terrible.
Oh yeah.
It was slow. It was just wrong. Simple things like turning your character around confuse the AI, and so it's not even close. Why are you putting this out there?"
And it was Quake II for crying out loud. It's not like it was the modern, Call of Duty game where it was going to
Right.
utilize a lot of processing power to do it. I mean,
Where the graphics looked amazing.
exactly. I mean, it was like they did it with Duke Nukem 3D. Like, who cares?
And if you
Right.
want to continue to make games with this kind of AI and then charge people as much as you do for like
Yeah.
$80 games, like that's bullshit. That's a
Yeah.
huge steaming pile
Yeah.
of bullshit.
Now, I will say, let's say there's a future where this kind of ability to make a game takes off and it works. That you can
Mhm.
tell the AI the prompts and refine them, and then suddenly everyone on the planet can make a video game. I mean, there's some potential there, but that's got to be 20 years off, 30 years off.
Well, or you could just create really crappy knockoffs of games. Oh yeah, it's called Roblox.
Touche. Touche.
Yeah. Yep.
And Sam Disfaction says, maybe you didn't find the good AI. I saw so many AI music videos that are actually awesome. One is the Lord of the Rings one and the reggae versions of Star Wars.
The reggae versions of Star Wars.
Yeah, we've been talking about reggae Star Wars in the chat as the episode's been going on. And I want to see Yoda smoking a huge blunt and playing the bongos. I
Well,
am.
generative AI can do that for you.
Hit this blunt, you will.
I'm freaking out, man, would be how in Yoda speak.
Freaking
Out, I am.
Yep.
You are freaking out, man.
All right, next up is Nike exploration of the world of low poly I'm doing the right one. Just wanted to double check on that one.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Nike's exploration of the world of low poly video games has landed on perhaps the most iconic of the genre. Revolutionary GoldenEye 007 for the N64 console has inspired the next colorway of the retro modded Air Max 1, calling out a fan favorite unlockable cheat code. For the uninformed, GoldenEye 007 is the iconic, for the uninformed, not anybody on this listen to this podcast, is an iconic first-person shooter game developed in 1997 for the N64 gaming system based on the 1995 James Bond film starring Pierce Brosnan. The simple black and white is an homage to the Bond signature black and white tuxedo, while the gold nods to the game's most powerful and mythical weapon, the Golden Gun. The moniker Big Head Mode is specifically a nod to the oversized heads. The Air Max 1 low poly is expected to launch in summer of 2025 for $160. Currently, it's available as a cosmetic on Fortnite. And Nike also dropped the Air Max 1 Big Head Origins, inspired by Donkey Kong Country, on Air Max Day on March 26th.
So
DJ Kwan says, yeah, those look dope. I just saw those yesterday.
Nice.
I am going to disagree with you, DJ Kwan, respectively. I've seen the Donkey Kong ones, and they look like Donkey Kong. You know, the shit brown. I owned a pair of shit brown Pumas back in like 2004. They were comfy, but my God, they looked horrible, and they didn't go with anything. So I just like, I'm gonna get rid of these.
You don't have anything else shit brown in your wardrobe?
Not anymore. I had a lot of cargo shorts and like brown. Yeah, but I didn't want to go all brown and look like a big walking pile of shit.
If you're walking around and get dirt on them, they're never gonna know.
I know
right?
Yeah,
that,
you step
but
in shit, you're good to go.
still, I didn't like the color brown. And I'm looking at these 007 GoldenEye, and if you look at them without being told what they are, I don't think I could have equated that to James Bond. Yes, you get the colors of the tuxedo, and yes, you get the gold laces, but that doesn't sell me on GoldenEye. So I'm looking at this, and I don't think this is a good matchup. I think they could have chosen something else to pair for this. Maybe like a Metal Gear Solid with like a cool blue and gray and some stuff like that. I think they missed the mark on this one.
And you know, it's interesting that Nike has been doing this. Do you think it was a response to the fact that there had been so many like viral videos of people turning their regular shoes into like retro themed stuff, like making it look like a Super Nintendo or whatever? Because if that's the case, like how cool is that? Imagine being able to like inspire what Nike does.
Of course, I 100% agree with you. And there are a lot of different shoe people out there that I follow that make their own custom shoes that do some really, really intense projects. Like you get like a horror themed shoe or a Ninja Turtle shoe. There's a guy out there called Bull Airs who makes some incredible mock-ups for shoes, encompassing all of the pop culture landscape. So I like the fact that it does inspire companies like Nike and Adidas and Reebok and stuff like that to do something like this, but maybe do it a little bit better.
I will say, not being a sneaker person, when I saw them, I was like, it kind of just looks like they made a black and white and gold sneaker and then slapped GoldenEye on it.
Yep.
But I mean, how else would you make a GoldenEye sneaker?
That's the question is, how would you? And you're going to have people who will buy it just for the name as well.
Of course.
So even if it maybe doesn't look like it or whatever, you're still going to buy it for the name, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But I think you could have added, like, it's got some, like, I think like 2 little details on it that nod back to the game. But I think you could have covered the shoe in details for James Bond and the N64 that would have made it seem more authentic and less like you were just kind of half-assing a shoe together. It's not a bad looking shoe if you don't call it the GoldenEye shoe.
like right on the back where the heel is, it's actually just an image of the John, right, that you open up where that guy is in there and you shoot him, right? So it's like right at the moment you shoot
That's
him
what should have
when
been
he's
on
on the
the inside
crapper.
tongue of the shoe.
Yeah. I didn't care too much for them. I think they could have just gone in a completely different direction with this one. But I when you say it, when you define it, when you tell me the specifics, and then I see it, I can be like, oh, okay, I can see what you tried to do there.
Sure.
But as a normal person who hasn't read the article and they just laid eyes on the shoe and it doesn't have anything that says 007 on it or whatnot, and I see it, I'm just like, what the hell is this? Just a black and white shoe with gold laces.
So what retro game would they make a shoe of that you would be willing to pay $160 and or more after scalper prices for? Night Trap?
Yeah, but I don't think you can. No,
You can't make a Night Trap shoe?
that's not feasible. That's not unless you had like all the girls on the side. Let's not get into that.
I think like a Halo Xbox shoe would look pretty cool, right?
Yeah, the green.
And then like the gold on the toe, so with the toe essentially looks like the face of Master Chief, right? I think you could probably get away with that.
Webhead says Super Mario 3, but the shoes better come with the raccoon tail.
Yeah. What about Castlevania?
Ooh.
They could do
now,
a pretty
how would you
cool
make a
one.
Castlevania shoe?
Fuck.
The laces are chain whips.
Yes.
I'm in.
Let's do it.
And every time you walk around, it goes.
Or it makes the knockback sound, yeah. Foul Rank says Super Metroid shoes, maybe. TK85 says you need a nice scat team shoe.
Yes. And just don't make it brown, okay?
It's a scat team.
Scat. Shit.
No, it's
brown.
Yeah.
Scat. That's joke. Funny.
Yeah. But Mega Man.
And it was called something else outside the U.S. It wasn't scat. It was something else, and I don't know why they decided on that one.
You could totally do a Mega Man Nike shoe that's all blue, like different shades of blue.
Yes, absolutely.
TK85 says the name of the special forces in Night Trap blue. I was like, yeah, I know, I get it. But every time Donnie talks about that game and says the scat members or whatever, that's the first thing that comes to my mind is that it's shit.
It's the first thing that comes to my mind too. Whenever I first saw it, I was like, scat.
Yeah, but we've never made that joke. And it's way past time we make that joke.
DJ Quan, Mike Tyson's Punch Out shoe. Oh yes.
Okay. So how would you effectively do that? How would you?
You could do like a 2 series, right? So one of them is like the green shoes that you wear as Little Mac, and then the pink ones you wear when you're out running. Yeah.
Webhead says a Castlevania shoes, and when they start to wear out, pieces fall off, and it reveals pictures of the walrus.
Beautiful.
Or like they could have like temperature changing thing where like the candles on either side will light up.
Mm.
Awesome.
Yes.
Can I have
Those are
Legend
great
of Zelda
ideas.
diving boots? Of course you can, Satisfaction. Anything your heart's desire.
All right, so why don't we go ahead and take a look at our top 3 new releases.
All right, first up this week is Promise Mascot Agency out on the PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Explore a cursed Japanese town, recruit mascot friends, and come to the rescue when disaster strikes. Solve the mystery of your exile, help a living finger work through her many anger issues. Turn Promise Mascot Agency into the best agency in Japan in this open world narrative adventure. Next up is Blueprints, out on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Welcome to Mount Holly, where every dawn unveils a new mystery. Navigate through a house with shifting corridors and ever changing chambers in this genre defying strategy puzzle adventure. But will your unpredictable path lead you to the rumored Room 46? And finally, South of Midnight, out on Xbox Series X and S and PC. South of Midnight is a new action adventure from Compulsion Games. Explore the mythos and confront mysterious creatures of the Deep South in this modern folktale while learning to weave an ancient power to surmount obstacles and unravel your family's hidden past in a stunning claymation-inspired art style. So, out of these three, what are you in for, Donnie?
I the one thing I'm not in for is for helping a finger work through many anger issues. I just
Why
didn't really
not?
understand that game whenever or what like a paper cut, like, oh, I'm gonna help you recover from a paper cut, or you slamming your finger in a cart. No, I I didn't really get the game whenever I saw the gameplay. I'm just like, I don't know what this is supposed to be, so I just kind of checked out of it. Um, Blueprints is one that we talked about a couple weeks ago whenever the was it State of Play that happened.
Might have been.
And yeah, I was really impressed with this game. I do like puzzle games. There's a game on the App Store called The Room, and you could play it on your phone. I did that a couple years ago. It was like $1.49. I tried playing it, and it's a puzzle game that you're just trying to solve this big huge puzzle that goes into the next puzzle and yada yada yada. But I
Well, hi,
do.
Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark. I do like this idea. So I'm all for puzzle games. So this one's definitely high on my list. But South of Midnight looks interesting as well. Action adventure type. Like I'm fully into Elden Ring at the moment, and this kind of looks like it might have a little Elden Ring ish style play or something maybe. But I'm curious to see the overall gameplay and the story of South of Midnight. But right now it's between Blueprints and South of Midnight, with Blueprints leading the way.
Nice.
Okie doke. What about you, Ryan?
Promise Mascot Agency looks like typical Japanese anime stuff that I just don't get. I've tried in the past and I just don't get it. I think you have to have a subscription, like a lifetime subscription to Crunchyroll to like really understand what's going on here. Hey, Blue.
You don't know me.
Which brings me to Blueprint. This one is so after doing the Suicide of Rachel Frost, I've actually really started liking these style of games. Um, and when watching Donnie play, what was that one where you're on the like oil derrick?
Still wakes the deep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Still Wakes the Deep. Loved that. Thought that was really, really cool. Really well done. So it seems like this is in that same ilk, if you will. And I kind of like that. It's that suspenseful kind of feeling, but also desire. I don't usually like puzzles in games, but if the entire game is a puzzle, then I know what I'm getting into, and it's not just like it's hindering me from playing the game. So Blueprints definitely looks interesting. However, South of Midnight looks really, really good. From a visual standpoint, from a gameplay standpoint, um, from what I can tell too, it appears to be kind of like large monsters to fight, and it looks like it's really well done, as well as the atmosphere kind of captures me as well. Um, I'd have to get it on PC though, so that is one piece that I mean, I can still get it, but it's not ideal. But I'm gonna Blueprints is definitely one I'm interested in, but I'm gonna lean towards South of Midnight this week.
Okay.
Sam Distraction says, still waits the deep? You mean still waits for its ending?
Called out.
We should go back and
Called
finish
out.
that game. We should definitely do
Didn't
that.
you have like 8 more hours or something ridiculous of
I
just
don't-
wandering corridors?
I don't remember. I mean, the game was fun in and of itself, but there's no way that I can play that game and stream it live and then do the stream, because it sucks. I don't have the
Ryan would
bandwidth
have to handle
capability
the
for it.
stream,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll handle this stream.
So, Blue, what about you? What are you picking this week?
So Promise Mascot Agency, I will agree with you guys, and it's a unique looking one in that it seems like it's it's describing itself as an open world narrative adventure. So it does kind of look like a visual novel, except you can drive around with mascots in the back of your truck. I wouldn't call the art style anime. I would call it looks an awful lot like a Suda 51 game. It And the tone seems like it's along those lines as well. I did look to see if there was any connection between Suda 51 and this game, and I didn't see one. It might just, be a coincidence. But anyway, all that to say, I'm probably going to skip that one. Blueprints apparently is the best reviewed game of the year so far.
Wow.
Ooh.
Yeah, the reviews are crazy and people are saying it's so good, it's so addictive. They're comparing it to games like Balatro and Slay the Spire as far as like just one more run. I can't stop playing. What the hell? It's 4 a.m. kind of a thing. So I think that it is a the gameplay is difficult to describe. It's called a genre-defying strategy puzzle adventure, but I think that it seems to be a really unique experience. And for a little nothing indie game to be getting this kind of attention and these kind of reviews, I think says a lot. So I'm 100% in for that one. South of Midnight, I've been excited for since it was revealed. I want to say Summer Game Fest last year, but I could be wrong. That was the first time I think maybe we heard about it. It looks fantastic, and I've always been interested to see how it was going to be. The gameplay looks exactly like the kind of stuff I like to play. The visuals look amazing. Unfortunately, only on Xbox right now, and I doubt very much my PC would run it. So
Oof.
yeah, that means I'm probably going to put that one on the back burner and wait for a port. You fall before me in the chat. Seems to think we'll get one in a few months. Hope they're right. So for now, I will stick with Blueprints.
Fingerprints. Good night, everybody.
No, thank you. Or was there an Animaniacs? I don't think so.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, I don't think so.
All right, so before we move on, let's take a quick break to talk about our sponsor. This segment is proudly sponsored by A Gamer Looks at 40 podcast. The show explores the history of video games through the stories and experiences of the people who lived it. This week, Bill welcomes a baseball season with an episode of 1994's Ken Griffey Jr. Baseball, or Ken Griffey Jr. presents Major League Baseball. There we go. And this week's question is, what is your favorite video game that has a celebrity name in the title? Let Bill know your answer by sending him a tweet at A Gamer Looks at 40 on Twitter and Blue Sky.
Do we have for the most part, you're not going to find an actor or an actress with their name in the title of a video game. It's more so sports.
Au contraire.
Okay,
Penn and
you got one
Teller?
for me?
You've got a 50 Cent, Blood on the Sand, Jet Li's Rise to Honor, Donald Trump's Real Estate Tycoon,
Ugh.
Buzz
had-
Aldrin's Race into Space, Bruce Lee, Quest of the Dragon, Hulk Hogan's Main Event, Kanye Quest 3030, Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, Michael Jackson's Moonwalker, Chuck Norris,
Okay.
Super Kicks,
Okay.
Shaq Fu.
Okay. You got me, man. You got me.
Actually.
I'm going to go and do the easy one. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, hands down.
I knew you guys were going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, so I was like, what? There's no celebrities like with
Tommy Lasorda baseball.
Yeah, exactly. Again, he's not really a like when you think of a celebrity, it's not an actor or an actress. Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, that's a sports person. So most of the games you're going to see with a name in the title is that of a sports thing. Like I was thinking about Ivan Stewart's, the Ivan Iron Man Stewart off-road. Love that game. Love that series. But yeah, Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, of course.
DJ Quan says, I remember renting Shaq Fu. A little bit of pour one out for you there.
Wu-Tang
Shaolin style. I wanted that controller so bad. So bad.
Yeah,
Oh,
You
God.
Fall Before Me says Lee Carvalho's putting challenge.
Yep.
Webhead says, don't the Olsen twins have a ton of games? Yes,
Shopping.
they do.
Yeah. The
They
shopping
do.
mall stuff.
Mhm.
Isn't it like a personal organizer they have as well? Yeah.
Mm.
Yeesh.
That's a game, right? It's playable on the Game Boy.
I'm going to put my money behind Chuck Norris Super Kicks from 1984, playable on the Atari 2600,
Have you
Commodore
played it?
64, ColecoVision. No, but it looks amazing. You have a little tiny sprite of Chuck Norris, and clearly you can tell it's him because there's a little bit of like brown hair on the top.
Is it shit brown?
Yes, it is.
I
It's
had that
colored.
on a dual cart. So at one point for the Atari, they were making two carts in once. You would plug it in this way or you would plug it in the other way.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the other one was, but I remember plugging in Chuck Norris Super Kicks, and that side didn't work on the cart. I was like, Chuck he did a roundhouse kick and fucked up my game, man.
Hmm.
Two carts at the same time, man.
Right.
Yeah, but these screenshots, they just look so Atari. So
that's a nice statement. They look so Atari, and we
Mhm.
know what that looks like. We know what that means.
The answer to your question, GoldenEye, is absolutely not. You cannot
Yeah.
die in Chuck Norris Super Kicks.
no.
And now it's time for the pause for effect. Very important poll. Every month on Twitter, we post our VIP, which is our very important poll. If you'd like to participate, follow us on Twitter at A Gamers Week PC. And if you'd like to have the production value stepped up for the very important poll, please be sure to let us know. Wink. This month's question was, what was your favorite place to get a pizza as a kid?
I'd like to volunteer Blue for the up in production value. Is that what we just said?
You know what? Suddenly I love generative AI.
I told you I will take care of the very important poll things for the show from now on, having to do one.
Donnie wants to take care of the poll from now on.
He can handle it.
Make sure it's nice and polished.
Spit polished. So with this month's question being, what was your favorite place to get a pizza as a kid? Coming in third place with a measly 5.1% was Papa John's. Following it up with not so much more is Domino's at 6.5%, but coming in first place, as you and I very well know it should be in its rightful place, Pizza Hut with 66.8%, because by God, I was going to read all those books and get my personal pan pizza.
Hell yeah.
Coming in at 21.5% is Other, and let's go ahead and take a look at some of the comments from the poll. C. Holland Art says, Otto's. They're a local chain in New England. They do specialty toppings for a limited time. They did a crab rangoon pizza, and it was amazing.
That does sound amazing.
I'm intrigued, because like we had that potato pizza a couple years ago in Milwaukee, and like a crab rangoon pizza. That doesn't sound too terrible. I think I can give it a shot.
Yeah.
Thunderdome Gaming Society says, come on, that Pizza Hut experience was the best. Pizza brought out to you in the lava hot pan. Don't touch it. Those red frosted glasses with your soda, plus like 2 or 3 arcade cabinets to choose from. The best. Mwah. And Thunderdome Gaming, I couldn't agree with you more. And I'll talk about a little bit about that in a second. Ryuga Hideki says, it's almost ridiculously regional. As a kid, Pizza Hut was king. Those PS1 demo discs are still in my library somewhere. Teenage years, the Papa John's nearest where my family moved is still the best around. After moving about 100 miles away, my Domino's is great and our Papa John's sucks. Tesseract Unfold says, the pizza parlor in Iron River, Wisconsin. Good pizza, had an arcade cabinet in the day, and the side order of ham and Swiss bites is divine. That does sound good. And Jake says, I chose Pizza Hut because I'm in my 40s and I remember what Pizza Hut used to be. Yes, I think the collective thought process when it comes to what you remember as a kid was the Pizza Hut was the definitive place to sit down and go. And I like you talk about Papa John's, they didn't have a sit down experience. They weren't even like in my neck of the woods. They didn't show up until like the late 90s. Domino's wasn't the sit down experience. It was your local mom and pop chain that served pizza, but it was Pizza Hut. That was the place to go on the weekends and have that atmosphere with the red frosted glasses and get that personal pan pizza or the bigger pizza and play the arcade games and all that stuff. And even I think they've had a buffet at one point. So hands down, it was Pizza Hut. That was the definitive pizza experience for me as a kid. Was a second choice, not someplace to go and sit down, but I remember so many different birthday parties as a kid where it wasn't Pizza Hut that they got, it was Little Caesars. And Little Caesars did the pizza. That was their slogan. You got 2 pizzas for $9.99, and they came in the big the cardboard placemat thing with the paper surrounding it. And I remember that even when I worked there in the 90s, we still had that before they switched over to boxes. So I remember that specifically and vividly as a kid, along with Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm. Foul Ranks says Domino's and Papa John's didn't exist in Canada at the time, so the only option was Pizza Hut.
Nice.
I will say I was tempted to choose other for me because, like, as a kid growing up in New York, which is, tangentially related to New York City, um, and a lot of Italian immigrants, specifically Sicilians, lived in Rochester. So that was like a big hub for folks who didn't want to live in this city who would move out there. So pizza was good. It was like the local places were really good. It's like Mark's Pizzeria and Pontillo's and Tony's Birdland. Like they all had really good stuff. But the thing is, like, if we're talking about this on a podcast, like, who cares who my local pizza joint was, right? Um, this is something that we want to be able to share nostalgia that others can relate to, and that's where Pizza Hut comes into play for me. I mean, I remember it being an experience. You like walked in the door and it had a certain smell to it, right? Because they had like the pizza oven in the back that was just like, that's that smell of fresh hot pizza kind of rolling through. You're right. You sit down in like a booth as well, which I loved as a kid, right? And you get that like the big plastic cups with Coca-Cola on the side, and then it would come with like a pitcher of soda, right? Which was like a terrible idea for kids to get hyped up on that, right? And then you're right, there was like that buffet that was in the middle, and I remember specifically loving the dessert pizza, which was just like a pizza shell with just like a shit ton of sugary shit on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god, go nuts over that. And one of the things I think that made Pizza Hut unique though was the personal pan pizza. As a kid, you didn't have to share your pizza with anybody else. You could get whatever you wanted, right? If you were a cheese kid or a pepperoni kid, you could get it all for yourself, and it was just yours. So when they came out and it was served in that like that dish, if you will, it felt special in a way. Um, was the pizza particularly good? No. But again, I don't think it was so much about the food. It was more about the experience. And again, too, arcade machines and everything. It's funny. There are certain places that I can vividly remember, like almost picture in my head. Pizza Hut on Dewey Road, where I grew up, is one of those places. I could tell you like where all the tables were, where the buffet was, like where the arcade machines were exactly, like where the bathroom freaking was. I could tell you that all, just by like closing my eyes. So
Mm-hmm.
clearly had an impact on me. And as a family, I don't think we did much of Domino's. We eventually did Papa John's because when Papa John's came out, that was like it's kind of like the it pizza for a little while. People wanted to try it, and like after a while, I think the novelty wore off. And for me, the sauce was a little too sweet. But that garlic dipping sauce that was like garlic
Yeah.
and like a little salty. Oh man, that was so good. I remember like you do the thing like nobody's looking. And you're like,
No.
take it.
Nope. Never did that once. Not even once. No thanks.
No. No,
Did
no.
that plenty of times. Definitely did that plenty of times. So I'm going to find out from this podcast as people reply to this that nobody took a big gulp of the garlic butter, and it was
which you
just
know
me.
is no percentage of actual butter.
Oh, I'm aware.
Yeah, just oil.
Yeah, whatever oil stays liquid at room temperature, that's what is flowing through your arteries right now.
Yeah, it's probably still there. You're right.
Probably. Yeah, I think there was just something special about Pizza Hut when you were a kid. We mentioned earlier the Book It program, and damn, those personal pound pizzas tasted so good when you earned them.
Right.
And you get a little bit older when they stop doing the book programs, but then you'd go to like summer basketball camp, and every kid would get a certificate for a personal pan pizza with your registration with the camp. And then all the kids would go to Pizza Hut, and we'd overwhelm this Pizza Hut at lunchtime on the first day of camp because everybody couldn't wait to use their certificate for the personal pan pizza. I mean, that kind of stuff was really fun. But then get a little bit older like you guys, and I kind of wandered away from Pizza Hut because I realized it's not very good pizza. The experience was great, and they did a great job of creating memories with kids, but it's not good pizza. And so while that was my favorite as a kid, by the time I was a teenager, it was more about Papa John's because we didn't have a lot of choices in this area. So Papa
Mhm.
John's felt like an improvement. There was also Godfather's Pizza. They had,
Yeah.
yeah. So they had the thing that was, they had a large pizza, and then they had like a super large pizza that was even bigger. So we would get those at school, and you could get like two and feed a whole classroom, and it was great. So
I
nowadays I do get from the local pizza joints. I don't like any national chains,
yeah.
but before you knew better, that stuff was great.
I completely um no they didn't. So DJ Kwan, Riot actually me, it was not Bigfoot. Pizza Hut had Bigfoot pizza. I thought it was Little Caesars. It was not. Little Caesars had pizza by the foot. Pizza Hut had the Bigfoot pizza. But there was a chain here in the St. Louis area called Pantera's Pizza. And I don't know if there were anybody else. Yeah, exactly. But that was the other place that rivaled. So you had Godfather's Pizza, where it was a sit-down place. You had the Showbiz Pizza, which was the Chuck E. Cheese and all that stuff. But Pantera's was another place that rivaled Pizza Hut because of the atmosphere, because you'd hear the music playing, like the pop music, the rock music and stuff. And it was like almost like I wouldn't say a party atmosphere, but it was like that. They had the arcade machines that you could go in there. The pizza was really good. There's still 2 locations here in the St. Louis area. And I get Pantera's Pizza every once in a while, and it's still freaking amazing. So Pantera's and Pizza Hut for me.
I want to make a special shout out to a little pizza place in Portland, Oregon. It is called Pizza Slut, and I think it deserves some recognition.
The Pizza Sloot. Pizza Slut. Okay, I gotta look this up. Pizza Slut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a picture because we were walking around downtown and we passed it, and I had to take a picture because I was like, Portland is great.
A 4.2. That's not bad.
So well, Donnie, when you mentioned the red cups, I decided to go on to Amazon and I bought 6 of them.
Are you gonna try and
That's
find
what
the
he'll
old
bring
Pizza
out.
Hut light fixture for your
Oh,
house?
that would be awesome.
Yes, that's a great idea, actually. Having that like over your pool table, I think would be super cool. Yeah.
GoldenEye wants to know, what's the attire for the waitresses at Pizza Slut? I don't know. I didn't go in, but now I regret that.
Well, there's always this year. Wonder if it's a restaurant.
Breast.
I don't know.
That's
All
an
the
official
windows
term.
were papered over.
Yeah. Twin Peaks and whatever.
Tilted Kilt. Yep.
They used to have one
Hooters.
close to me, and then they shut down. And Twin Peaks, they used to be out here in St. Louis, and they shut down too. Don't know why.
I mean, when Hooters can't make it, who can?
I
In
took
the
my
restaurant
dad
genre.
to a Tilted Kilt, not knowing what it was. We were sitting down and like,
Oops.
okay,
Son, I'm
no,
proud.
I'm not I'm not upset. Just I
Sorry,
didn't know what
Dad,
this was.
I thought it was about our heritage. Honest
Right.
mistake.
Right.
I'll have the bangers and mash.
Yeah, you will.
You got to go out back for that.
All right. So To wrap things up, thank you for listening to episode 160 of Gamers Week podcast, and a big thank you to the Retro Game Club podcast, Love Retro BTW, A Gamer Looks at 40 podcast, and Pickle Pond Productions for sponsoring this episode. And don't forget to check out their links in the show notes. If you want to connect with Gamers Week, follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at Gamers Week PC. Follow us right here on Twitch at twitch.tv/Gamers Week podcast, where we record live every Wednesday at 8:30 Central Standard Time. Email us at gamersweekpodcast@gmail.com. Visit our merch store at gamers-week-podcast.creator-spring.com. Or if you want to do it the easy way, follow the link in the show notes. And last but not least, join us on Patreon at patreon.com/gamersweek. Finally, since you made it all the way to the end of the episode, please leave us a rating or a review to let us know how we did. We really do value your feedback. And while you're...
I knew you were going to do that. They can't see that the highlighting didn't continue.
And while you're there, consider subscribing on iTunes, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice.
I don't know how to finish this. What do I do?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
You Fall Before Me says peak episode right here, instantly going to my top 3 hands down.
Nice.
Spin-off show about Pizza Hut could go for at least 69 episodes.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Yeah, thank you a lot. Thank you so much. And even our first time viewer tonight, we're very thankful that you joined us for our live episode. We do this every Wednesday, so it gives you a preview of what's to come before Blue does her magic and edits the episode. So there you go, magic. Speaking of Pickle Pond, we're gonna go ahead and send you on over to our friends at Pickle Pond. They're kosher, okay? Just saying it right now. They're playing some retro. Go ahead and show them some love. Ducks and Red Ox, they're good friends of ours, and they always put on a good show for you guys. We will send you on over to them, and we will be back next Monday for our uncut on YouTube, and then back here same time, same bat channel next Wednesday for you and your ear holes. See you later, guys. Thank you. We love you.
Good night.
We love you and your ear holes.
So meaty. And